4, Chapter 3, Queen of Clubs. The peaceful evening was broken by a knocking on their front door. Bruno frowned when he recognized his sister's particularly bossy way of knocking. The woman had been calling all day, but he had just sent all her messages to spam. Rebecca yelled, "Oh, for the love of God, Bruno, open the door. I need your help." Carina went to the door, but Bruno shook his head before saying, "No, she doesn't. She has money. She will live." "Bruno, the girls have gone missing. Please, for the love of God, I need your help to find them," begged Rebecca. Bruno sighed with frustration before opening the door. He said, narrowing his eyes, "Did you call the police?" "No, you're supposed to wait 24 hours to call them," said Rebecca hysterically. "Don't be stupid, Rebecca. Call them, or better yet, I will call them," said Bruno, opening his cell phone. "No, don't," said Rebecca, taking her brother's cell phone. "Now I see your angle. You are the biggest piece of shit on the planet," barked Bruno, extremely disgusted by his sister. Rebecca was more worried about losing the custody of her daughters than about saving them from immediate danger. Fuck me, Carina. I'm going with Rebecca to find the girls." "I'm coming with you," said Carina, running over. The party drove back to the hotel in Miami Beach. It wasn't the most expensive, but it wasn't cheap either. Carina drove to give the siblings a chance to talk. "When was the last time you saw the girls?" asked Bruno. "The last time I saw them was before putting them to bed," said Rebecca. "And when I woke up this morning, they were gone. God, what am I going to do?" "Did you check the closet?" asked Bruno. "Yes, the first thing I did was check the entire bedroom. I checked the pool, the park, the beach. I checked everywhere," said Rebecca, listing everywhere she had looked. As soon as he arrived to the hotel, Bruno made his way towards the beach. He saw a nearby lifeguard tower. The structure resembled the treehouse that the girls had played at while visiting Carina's house. After looking inside, he found the girls playing dolls. Rebecca screeched at her daughters like a peacock before breaking down in tears. She couldn't believe that the girls had done something so foolish. Carina was impressed by the fact that Bruno had found his nieces so quickly. Clearly he knew the girls quite well. "She made me do it," said Olivia, pointing to her younger sister. "No, it was your idea," said Becky, blaming her sister. "Let's go, Carina," said Bruno, starting to depart. He stopped in his track when two little arms grabbed the hem of his shirt. "Uncle, since you're here already, why don't we go swimming together?" said Becky, giving a childish smile. "Oh, for the love of God," said Rebecca. "You are not swimming anywhere, Missy, and you're both officially grounded, and Miami isn't like Herman. If you wander off without an adult in Miami, you are never seen again." "Do we become invisible?" asked Becky, looking at her hands. "Don't be stupid, Becky," barked Olivia. "What she means is that we could have been taken by a serial killer to be chopped off into little pieces before being melted in battery acid. And that is the best case scenario, little sister." "I don't want to be melted in acid," said Becky, starting to cry. "Olivia, you need to stop watching 48 Hours, said Rebecca, sighing with frustration. She was a heavy sleeper, and the girls would take advantage of her weakness to watch late-night television. "If you keep seeing that show, you're going to have nightmares." Bruno softened when he saw Becky crying, and he picked her up before entering the ocean with her. He didn't even bother to get changed. Becky splashed about quite a meal at finally getting her way. Her mother didn't know how to swim, so it fell on Bruno to swim in the ocean with his nieces. Olivia sat down by the shore to build a sandcastle. Carina sat down beside the girl. The girl hissed before throwing sand at Carina, and Carina responded in kind, treating the thread display like a game. Olivia eventually got tired of throwing sand. "Do you want to go swimming with me?" asked Carina. "No," said Olivia. We used to get along just fine. What happened? Was it something I said? Was it something I did?" asked Carina. "I can't make amends if you don't tell me what I did wrong." "It wasn't my idea to be a jerk to you," said Olivia, blaming her sister. "It was her idea. Becky got into Mom's computer and she saw all that their mom has collected about you." "I knew she was spying on me," said Carina, laughing. "You are not mad?" asked Olivia. "Nah, it isn't my first time being spied. People who hurt don't easily trust, and it makes sense that your mother would want to know everything bad there is to know about me," said Carina. "Is it true that Kane was your ex-boyfriend?" asked Olivia. "Boyfriend is a strong word. and we were friends with benefits, said Carina. What benefits does he give you? Asked Olivia. He fixes my computer when it gets a virus, said Carina. And what benefit does he get from you? Asked Olivia. If he gets sick, I cure him. I'm a doctor, said Carina, flaunting her PhD. Is that why you visit his house so often? Because he's ill, asked Olivia. Yes, he hasn't been well since his girlfriend dumped him, said Carina. Oh, I see, said Olivia. What is Zoloft? It treats depression and other disorders, said Carina. Olivia proceeded to ask Carina about all of the medicines her mother was researching. When Olivia grew quiet, Carina asked, have I answered all of your questions? Do you love my uncle? Asked Olivia. Yes, said Carina without hesitating. Does my uncle love you? Asked Olivia. No, but he lies in order to make me happy, said Carina, smiling sadly. Yes, he certainly does like to lie a lot, giggled Olivia. I don't know why he bothers. I can always tell when he's lying. It doesn't surprise me. You're a smart girl, Olivia, said Carina. Why are you a man-eater? Asked Olivia. Is the taste of human meat really that tasty? Is that why your mother thinks of me? Asked Carina, laughing. Honestly, I don't eat men. I prefer the taste of chicken. And how do you know what a man tastes like? Asked Olivia. Bruno lets me bite him, and he bites me too, said Carina. Why do you bite each other? Asked Olivia. Boredom. Adults do a lot of stupid things due to boredom, said Carina. My sister bites me too, but not out of boredom. She can bite really hard when she's angry, said Olivia, trembling at the memory of her most recent fight with her little sister. Since I am older, Mom doesn't allow me to fight back. The conversation ended abruptly when Rebecca approached, and it was obvious that the two maidens were whispering about Rebecca behind her back. The divorce had been hard on the girls, and with her father no longer living with them, the girls naturally gravitated towards their uncle. He was a duo that usually did whatever they wanted, and Olivia began to gesticulate to her uncle to get her uncle's attention, and Bruno left the waters to ferry Olivia as well. And Carina was left alone with Rebecca. Rebecca sat down beside Carina, and the woman was quiet while she looked at her daughters playing with her brother. Carina opened her mouth for a second, but she chose to remain silent. She brought herself on to do something with her time. What were you two talking about? Asked Rebecca, breaking the silence. Nothing much. She asked questions and I answered them. She asked me about Zoloft. Olivia saw you looking up that medicine, said Carina, closing her cell phone. Why are you researching that medicine? I don't feel comfortable talking to you about my problems, said Rebecca. Would you prefer to talk about them with Bruno? Asked Carina, smiling slightly. God, no, I can't even say 2 words without him exploding, said Rebecca. When men get like that, it is best to leave them alone to allow them to decompress. If you prick them, they will explode like balloons, said Carina. I take it you are an expert by now at managing my brother's moods, asked Rebecca. He's never moody when he's with me, said Rebecca, and she added, everything was perfect until you. It wasn't my intention to intrude, but look at things from my perspective. One day my brother stopped calling. He gave no signs of life for months, and he gave me no other choice but to come down to intruding his privacy, said Rebecca. Look, Rebecca, if I make Bruno call you once a day, will you forgive and forget what he did? Asked Carina, attempting the role of a mediator. It is better if you don't pressure him to do something he doesn't want to, said Rebecca. She wanted for her brother to call her out of his own free will, and due to the 17-year age gap, Bruno had always seen his sister as an authority figure instead of a friend. Rebecca didn't help much in that apartment with her constant mothering her little brother, and she had tried to fill the role left vacant by her dead grandma, and the first time she had interfered in her brother's life, she had made a mess of it, and now she lives trying to make amends, and Rebecca looked at her brother as she pondered if she wasn't making the same mistake again. Rebecca looked at Carina from head to toe. Carina wasn't as pretty as her brother's last girlfriend. Even so, Carina was infamous for changing boyfriend as often as her underwear, and Bruno was the first stable boyfriend she had in over 7 years. And Rebecca's spy had interviewed a few of Carina's former boyfriends, and with the exception of Cain, all had terrible things to say about her, so she naturally had every reason to worry about her brother Bruno. The sun fell over the horizon, and Bruno left the beach while holding his 2 exhausted nieces, and they made their way back to Rebecca's bedroom. Rebecca got her daughter showered and changed, and Bruno was still drinking from ocean water, but he hadn't bought a change of clothing. "I'm going to buy you something to wear from the gift shop," said Carina. Bruno went into the shower, and after he got clean, he sat on the floor to wait for Carina to return. He didn't have the energy to be left alone with his sister. His eyes studied the bathroom tile. It had a lovely aquamarine checkerboard pattern. He placed the soap in a blue towel, and the sponge was placed next to it, and while the shampoo and the conditioner bottles were set near it, and Rebecca had him in check at the moment, and he needed to think of his next move carefully to avoid checkmate. Option 1. Tell my sister the truth. I never want to see you again. Results. If I tell my sister the truth, I will probably lose my job in the law firm because another team player that Rodrigo thought I was. Option 2. Pretend to make a mess. Results. Rebecca can see right through me, so pretending to forgive and forget is not an option. Option 3. Avoid confrontation and hopefully Rebecca will get the hint. Results. Rodrigo is going to wonder why I'm ghosting my sister, and I will lose everything because I'm not the person Rodrigo thought I was. Fuck, I don't see a way out, thought Bruno before punching the floor in impotent fury. He punched the floor again and again, and he was distracted from his tantrum by a soft knocking, and based on his pattern he could tell that Carina was outside the door, and he turned off the shower and he didn't bother to tidy up, and he wrapped himself in a towel before opening the door, and he frowned when he saw the Hawaiian thin shirt and pants that Carina had bought for him. "They were the only things in your size," said Carina, "and the rest were too baggy or they didn't have a built-in undergarment." "There was nothing wrong with freeballing my way back home," said Bruno gradually accepting the outfit, and he got dressed before finally leaving the bathroom. "You look silly, Uncle," said Becky, giggling. "No, I look like I'm on vacation," said Bruno, giving a fake smile. "And what do you want to eat?" "McDonald's," yelled Becky. "We can eat McDonald's at home," barked Rebecca. "I want to go to McDonald's," whined Becky. "If you don't like the restaurant, you shouldn't have taken Becky there in the first place," said Bruno. "I don't always have the energy to cook," said Rebecca. "But McDonald's, really, sister?" scoffed Bruno. "We don't have to go to McDonald's," said Becky, changing her mind to avoid controversy. "But I do want to eat chicken nuggets and fries." "Manolo has that," said Carina, suggesting a restaurant. "They even have pizza and ice cream." The party drove to Manolo, and Carina sat in front with Rebecca while Bruno squeezed in the back with his nieces. The girls proceeded to share his ear off, and from time to time Rebecca would look at her brother through the rear view mirror. They arrived to the restaurant after a short 20-minute drive, and the girls took in the ambience, and Becky went to look at the fish tank while Olivia looked through the desserts that were in the bakery of the restaurant. "I want that one," said Olivia, pointing to a piece of coconut pie. Rebecca took a photo of the dessert in order not to forget. The family ordered the food, and while they waited, Rebecca attempted to speak to her brother. She asked, "How is work?" "The same." "How is your work?" asked Bruno, giving a sardonic smile. He knew that his sister was a stay-at-home divorced mother, though her hobby was real estate. Rebecca didn't do the job enough time for her brother to consider her employed, and on average she sold one house per year, 2 if she was lucky. "The same," said Rebecca. "And you, Carina, what do you do as a pediatrician?" "Consultations. It is my job to examine the patient to find out what ails them. And take Olivia, for example. She looks a little pale, and she's not too energetic," said Carina, extending her hands, and Olivia moved back a pace, and her mother eventually urged her to allow Carina to touch her, and Carina looked under her eyelids. Looked under Olivia's eyelids. "Just as I thought, your daughter has anemia." "Am I dying?" asked Olivia, worried. "No, but you need to eat more meat. Beans are also a good source of protein," said Carina. "You can tell that just by looking at her eyes," asked Rebecca. "It's not just the eyes. She also looks paler and less energetic than the last time I saw her. Anemia is quite common among picky eaters, and if you can get her to eat meat, if you can't get her to eat meat, you can just add protein into her milk or her juice," said Carina. Bruno sighed with relief, and Rebecca was no longer paying him any attention, and she was more focused in getting a free doctor's consultation from Carina. And Carina drew a diet plan for the girls, and both needed to get more protein into their diet. And when the food came, Bruno reached out to get a hold of the pizza of his plate, and Bruno reached out to get a hold of his pizza plate, and his wrist grew weak, and he dropped the plate. And the waiter's swift hands caught the plate before it fell. And this drew Carina's attention to the hand that Bruno had used to punch the floor, and she took the hand to examine it. And the medial side of the palm was bruised, but nothing that some cold compresses couldn't fix. And Carina wetted the napkin before placing it beneath Bruno's hand. She didn't ask how he had gotten hurt. She knew that he was not going to give her an honest answer. Alright, that's the end of that chapter, but God bless.